Senator, first of all, are you going to get home for Christmas, or are you guys here for the whole haul?
I assume we're here for another day or two. I don't know. We still have to do work to do. I mean, we've got to.
Yeah.
There's as you know, there were more blocked nominees. The Republicans blocked more Obama appointees by filibuster than all the presidents in the past combined, all his predecessors combined, and we're trying to make up for lost time after changing the rules and getting people confirmed. So we've got to do that. We got to do a defense bill. We did the budget yesterday. So some things are happening, and the Senate will work when you tell them to work, and you don't have somebody blocking everything by the rules.
What should we think about this budget, Senator?
Well, you should think that it's going to add economic growth 0.5%, which sort of begs the question: if we eliminated sequester entirely, it would mean significantly more economic growth. And you saw Ben Bernanke's comments yesterday that the fundamental reason we're not growing more is because of, he didn't say it this way, but because of Republican intransigence, that the insistence always, we're shutting the government down if you don't cut spending. And he pointed out the hundreds of thousands of public jobs lost as the private sector job growth has gone all right. The public sector job loss has been such a drag on the economy, and that comes from a Republican appointee, Bernanke. So, but the budget fixes a little bit of that. It goes generally in the right direction. I'm very unhappy that it didn't have unemployment insurance extension. So 40,000 people in my state lose their unemployment at the end of the year, and the House has already gone home, and it's going to be another 80,000 during the course of the year if we don't fix it. We've gotten a commitment from Majority Leader Reid to do the Jack Reid has been sort of the leader in this from Rhode Island. Getting the first week order of business is do unemployment extension, and just force the issue till we can pass it, and just keep trying until we do.
Are Republicans? I mean, have they lined up in opposition to that? Are they the ones that are blocking it, or any Republicans breaking ranks there?
Well, there's one Republican co-sponsor, a senator from Nevada. A Republican from Nevada is a co-sponsor. We hope he starts bringing more people with him. But when Jack Reid has gone to the floor and tried to move it, there's always been an objection. So, these people, they forget that this is insurance. You pay in when you're working, and you get assistance when you're not, just like Social Security's insurance and Medicare. They just don't much. I mean, the Republican philosophy has really become opposition to social insurance. They just think it's everybody for himself or herself, and caring less about the herself and the himself. And they really don't believe. So many Republicans now, the mainstream of their party really doesn't believe in social insurance.
You know, I'd be willing to bet, Senator, that some of those people who are going to lose their unemployment insurance happen to live in red states, too, you know?
Well, just like the number of people that, when they're expanding Medicaid in California and Ohio and New York and Massachusetts and some other states and Kentucky, if you live in Florida and you're making $9 an hour, you're out of luck. You're not going to get Medicaid. And all because one guy is trying to make a political point, the governor of Texas, and state after state after state. That's the case. Tragic.
Did the Fed do the right thing yesterday?
Yeah, probably. I think that the economy is showing signs of getting better. I think it's a question of what speed they taper off or taper down, and I think that's now no longer Bernanke's decision. It will be Yellen's decision. I assume we're going to confirm her today. I hope so, and then she will be making these decisions. But she's pretty close to him in the philosophy of sort of hawkishness or dovishness on these kinds of issues.
One other labor-related issue is the minimum wage, Senator. This is something you've talked about a lot. Not on the table right now, but is that something that do you think we'll get to early in 2014?
Yeah, I've asked Reid. A number of us have asked Reid, the majority leader, to move quickly on minimum wage. Just no reason not to. There's a couple of points to make on this, why this is even more important than other years. It hasn't been raised since 2007. President Bush signed it. Got a lot of pressure from the public, and why he moved on it, because he's not a guy that particularly ever advocated for a minimum wage increase. But we had a Democratic House and Senate. We ended up getting Republican votes because they saw the train was leaving the station. They felt a lot of public pressure. But this one does two things that we haven't done in the past for a long time. One, it builds a cost of living adjustment into it.
Yes,
so
right.
we don't have to do this every year or 2 or 3 or 5.
Very important. Very
to my
important.
knowledge, that's never been done. The other thing it hasn't been done since the early 90s. That is, it raises the tipped minimum wage. The tipped minimum wage right now is $2.13 an hour, believe it or not. Hasn't been raised since the early 90s. And it's not just the waitress in the diner, it's also the guy that does the bags at the airport. In many cases, the woman that pushes the wheelchair at the airport. Those are often minimum wage, sub-minimum wage jobs because you're supposed to tip.
Yeah.
And they don't do very well with tips a lot of times, depending on the time of year and the generosity of the people they're working with and all that. And sometimes people don't even know to tip. I think people in those when you see somebody being pushed in a wheelchair by an attendant at the airport, they don't work for the airlines. The airlines have washed their hands of it and subcontracted it in most cases, and people don't know to tip in those cases. And my cousin met somebody who was volunteering in a homeless shelter and met somebody living in a homeless shelter who's working one of these jobs. If that's not incredible.
Wow. But so would the bill provide parity for tip workers?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't finish. Yeah, I apologize. The bill would, within 3 or 4 years, bring the tip minimum wage up to 70% of minimum wage. I understand why it can be a little bit less, but it will not immediately go to 70 because that would be a little bit of a sharp change for businesses. But it gets it up by 2016. So if we pass this bill as is, the minimum wage will be increased 90 cents on the day it's signed, 90 cents a year later, 90 cents a year after that. The tip wage will go from $2.13 to, I believe, $4 or $5, and then it will, over the next 4 years, get up to 70% of the $10.10.